Show is just great.
I like what they talk about.
Oh, a terrific show.
I listen to their show every morning.
98.7 Kiss Country.
7:23 right now in downtown. Still some clouds in the area. And as far as temperature-wise, we started off the morning pretty decent, really, 30. And that's kind of where we're holding steady. Feels like 19, expecting a high up in the 50s. The guy that's probably watches it even more than I do is this guy.
I still do, Jay. I still do.
Do you? Well, that's good.
You know I do. It's been quiet weather-wise, though. I know we've had some wind in November, but we didn't really have any severe weather. We had a little bit of snow here and there, but it's been a pretty typical, and it's weird to say that because we're in 2020. It's been a pretty typical start to November and even October, even if it was a little bit below average.
Yeah, I look at it once we get to this point, November, December, I'm thinking, you know what? It's a day closer to spring.
Right.
with no cold weather.
Yeah, and any day we can not have snow on the ground in November, any day that we're in the 50s and 60s, which we're expecting the next at least 2 days, maybe 3 days, they're bonus days. And we have to be, I think, really blessed to have that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So Chris Nelson is on the air with us here this morning. And it was kind of interesting because I got to, because I follow you on Facebook and as people follow me on Facebook as well. But I saw a post where you get quite a few comments that started coming in, and it's about, this has been a crazy year of 2020. And so tell us a little, because you got kind of hammered on some of those things too, about a couple of different things that you've done lately.
Yeah, so let's start out. So if you follow my page, Chris C. Nelson, meteorologist, and by the way, since I left the TV news back in June, I've started my own company. If you go to nelsonmediacompany.com, I do various media and digital marketing. But I think with Jay and I having the voice in the community that we have and the followers that we have, it's our duty to be able to make sure that we try to get people to follow us in what we're doing, and especially if we're doing good things. And the one thing that I've been pleading to people in our Iowans and I have followers in Minnesota and Wisconsin as well, is we need to mask up. We need to make sure that we have a mask on at all times during COVID. That's the number one thing that we can do right now to keep ourselves safe, and especially keeping other people. Jay and I, if you and I develop COVID, we have a really good chance of surviving it. We don't have any major pre-existing health conditions. We're normal, healthy adults, but there are other people that have pre-existing conditions, and there are the elderly that are really getting hammered from this virus. So that's one thing that I was pleading, and I wrote a blog on it at nelsonmediacompany.com. But the second thing that happened was, a lot of people were looking at that. They paged down, and on Monday I went out with my client, Alpha Roofing Company. Derek Steer and Joe, they went out with me after I did a piece with them, and we were at Boulder Tap, right in the heart of Mason City. And we wore a mask, we were social distance, and we took a picture without the mask. And that brings up, Jay, as you know, a whole nother debate. And that's the part where I got hammered, where folks are like, well, you're being a little hypocritical. Here's the thing for me. And Jay, I don't know if you want to chime in, or maybe you just want to stay out of this because this is very controversial. But,
well, here's what I want to, because I saw your post you posted this morning about how you're going to be on Kiss Country and with me this morning. And I'm just looking at a couple of your comments, and they said, good luck arguing with the anti-maskers. And I'm going, wait a minute. Chris isn't coming on here to argue with me. We're here to talk about the importance of it, and whether you're for it or against it or whatever. Just common sense went out the window. I don't know if you've seen some of these on your page or not here this morning, Chris. But
I have not, but I've seen enough from yesterday that here's the thing that I've seen, and Jay, you may have seen this as well. We became so extreme. Either you can't leave your basement and you have to live in bubble wrap, or you're not wearing a mask. I think there's a perfect happy medium that we're talking about right now that are keeping us safe. We have different policies in different states. Governor Reynolds announced more, again, mandates and things to really stricken things up. And the fact that she did that, props to her. Governor Walz in Minnesota looks like he's shutting some things down because of everything that's growing. They're worried about hospitalizations. They're worried about death, and they're shutting down health centers. They're shutting down bars and restaurants. I don't think as Iowans we want to get to that point, do we? So that is why I'm coming on and talking to Jay and saying, you know, the last plea that we can make. So, you know, young Jim and young Jane can get birthday presents or Christmas presents too, rather, as we're getting to the holiday season. We don't want mom and dad's shop to get shut down because of COVID. That's the last thing we want to do. And my thing that I believe in is if I am practicing social distancing and I'm wearing a mask, I still want to help out. I still want to help out area businesses and restaurants. And that is why I went into Boulder Tap. I followed protocol and I went in, had my meal, enjoyed my time, but I know a lot of people were upset. Now, I understand that to a point with people being upset. I think if you have pre-existing conditions, and I think if you are, I don't know what the CDC says, if it's 55 or 60 years old or older, if you're considered a little bit more elderly into your 70s, yeah, maybe you should not be doing the things that I'm doing just in case if you do get it, if you do end up getting, because again, fatality rate is a little bit higher. But for me, Jay, I'm still going to hit up those businesses. I still want to help out places like, think about all the areas in downtown Osage or St. Ansgar or Riceville or Mason City or Clear Lake. If we just stop using these businesses, the economy is going to shut down. And we're not to that point yet where our government is shutting things down yet, at least in Iowa. So that is where I'm at. And I just wanted to, this is not preaching. This is trying to bring a positive influence to the community and all everyone that follows us, Jay, and all your listeners this morning.
Yeah, and I should mention too, Chris, that we are on the Morning Rush Facebook page, the 98.7 Kiss Country Facebook page, and also on YouTube, on my YouTube page, just letter J Brooks 987. And you can make comments too, or a question that you might have for me or Chris at this time. Jamie says mask up with an exclamation point. And we get that. And, you know, I go out and I met, well, okay, people that have maybe seen me out and about, maybe see me a couple of different places that I didn't wear a mask. Is something that I'd run in, I grab something real quick, and I come back out. And what they say is at 6:15, basically 6 feet apart, 15 minutes together, having a conversation, things like that. Have you done that type of deal? And that's what they're kind of gauging everything on. You know, so if we sat down and had a conversation for 15 minutes and weren't 6 feet apart, that's not really what they're recommending. So, right. You know,
go ahead.
So it's one of those things where, you know, if I go into even like Walmart has lifted some of their mask mandate a little bit. You don't have to necessarily. I still wear it when I go into some of the big box stores and things. But if I run in and grab a soda or something, and it's just I'm in and out and I'm going. But now my wife, on the other hand, she will put a mask on, and if I have it conveniently sitting in the truck, then I'll grab it sometimes, but not all the time that I do. So I don't know. I don't want to say just as bad as everybody else, but I'm just one of those that I'm just in a hurry and in and out. And,
yeah. And I think we've gotten to that point in this pandemic. And I think so many states, again, this is not me preaching. This is just my overall view of how I see things and how I'm typing in numbers. Because if you go to Google and you type in COVID cases for Wisconsin, which is considered the epicenter of where this whole second kind of surge and outbreak has happened. If you look at their numbers and then you start to look at Iowa and Minnesota, we're creeping. Minnesota's higher than Wisconsin at this point for current COVID cases and also right now deaths. And I feel like if we don't do something in Iowa soon, we're going to be creeping, I think, maybe above Wisconsin as well. And that's the last thing we want to do. And I don't know if I mentioned this or this was during break, but again, Minnesota putting out new mandates. Governor Walz is putting out shutting down restaurants, fitness centers, bars. Again, there was some last week that he shut down for 10 o'clock, and that's the same thing that Governor Reynolds did. But it really is going to be interesting. And I don't want to get political with this, but unfortunately, government has been doing that. A lot of the Democratic governors are now starting to kind of join forces and say, hey, we're going to shut things down. And you probably have to wonder, I think both sides are going to start doing this if those deaths keep creeping up. And especially with the cases, it's kind of a percentage game. You know, if you have 150 cases, you're going to probably have 7 or 8 hospitalizations, which is going to equal 1 death. And the higher that goes, you're just going to cap out from hospitalizations. One thing I want to mention too, I got this from a friend. CNN with Jake Tapper, and again, I don't want to get in with the whole right and left and government and all that, but they were in Presco, Iowa with a video. And
I just saw that this morning.
Did you? Yeah. And I got that from a friend, and I'm like, if this is legit really happening, and we can share this on the Facebook page, but they're basically just, and Jay, maybe you can talk about it too, because I only saw a little bit of it. It's basically a video camera kind of showing the small hospital in Presco that is just being packed with COVID cases. And this is just one small little piece of what the rest of these small hospitals, small communities, and it goes all the way up to some of the bigger branches, Mercy One and Mayo, that are dealing with this. And I mean, the first thing you got to think of too is, think about these healthcare workers and frontline workers that have to look at this every single day. Props to them, because they're putting their life on the line. But if it's one thing that I can plead, and the one thing that we can do as Iowans, and if anyone that's listening from the Midwest or even around the country, wear a mask and social distance and follow protocol. If it's city stuff, because there are some cities that are making you wear the mask, or if it's county, or if it's state, or if it ends up being something more federal. We haven't done that yet, and I don't know how you would even be able to mandate something from a federal standpoint, because people are going to do it, Jay, or they're not going to do it. But if we can plead and we can lead, and if you go out anywhere and you can wear a mask, you will see me now, no matter what, wearing a mask. But if I could repost that picture again that I had at Boulder Tap with the three of us sitting at our table, and we were social distancing and we were eating, I still wouldn't wear my mask. I would not, because again, that is protocol for what's going on with all this, Jay. Right.
And you have, and I've heard, and I've done it too. Because I tell you what, I'll tell you what it is. Whenever you listen to the show, people have asked, Jay, like he is in real life, is what he is on the like. This is a fairy tale. Oh, this is real life. I'm telling you stuff. It's the realest thing. I'll be the first to admit that I like I mentioned, I haven't. But I'm going to start now. When I just run in and grab a soda out of the convenience store or gas station, I'm going to wear it, walk in, get my thing, and walk out. Just as much as I like to bend the rules, I also like to be safe, and I like other people to be safe. And so I'm doing it not only just for me, but I'm also doing it for you as well. So, and if you catch me out and about somewhere not wearing a mask, then call me out on it. I don't care. I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm going to go, oh yeah, I know, I forgot it, or whatever, in the truck, and I'll run back out. I've done it before. I got to jump out of the truck. It's just a habit of nature that we but now a lot of us are starting to have the habit of nature of wearing the mask everywhere we go.
Yeah. And I think, and I also push for the entrepreneurs that are out there, and the business owners that, maybe put that, and I saw it in Osage yesterday when I was there. Maybe put this on your door. And I'm not telling you what to do. It's just a suggestion, because this may in the long run help you. But maybe put out a mandate if you want to come into this building, and there are actual customers. If you're a clothing store, or if you're a convenience store, a grocery store, and it's not considered actual that you have to, this is going to keep your customers safe. And maybe from a financial standpoint too, and keeping all these businesses open, including yourselves, maybe this is going to help you in the long run too. But for me, wearing a mask, it is not about me. If I get COVID, I get COVID. But what I worry about is my family. I worry about my friends. I worry about my clients. I worry about my community. And I certainly worry about the ones that are exposed, that this could hurt the most. So if you're not going to do this for yourself, and you're going to be stubborn about it, do this for, if you have a grandma living, or if you have a elderly mother and father, if you have neighbors that are elderly with pre-existing conditions, do that for them. And I've already seen it, Jay, on my Facebook page. I've had people perish already that I know of on my Facebook page from COVID. I have one follower that is in the Mason City Hospital right now, fighting for her life, and she's one of my people that have been around and sending me weather photos. This is not, as some people think this is. This is not a conspiracy COVID. This is not fake. This is the real deal. This is not your normal flu cold virus. I mean, this is going to kill more and more people, and we've gotten to a point where we got to do something about it.
Yeah, and again, this is temporary. That's what people need. The anti-mask people that, and again, at the beginning I was like, whatever, and now I'm like, because same thing. I know people that have passed that have had this, and it's been a distant relative, and I'm going, you've got to be kidding me. I was shocked when that was brought to my attention that, hey, did you know that, or I wanted to call and let you know that, he passed away today. And I'm going, what?
And it happens quick. It happens quick. Like you get it on Saturday and people are dying by Tuesday. And for 3-4 days, you're not seeing symptoms. And again, everyone is a little bit different of how they develop the symptoms and the severity of it. But the people that are dying, it's like that. I mean, it's really quick. And another thing I want to point out, Jay, too, and to even finalize and put a bow on all this is the vaccine. We were talking about this. It's maybe weeks away from being federally approved. And I have no idea the mass distribution of how this is going to all work out. But we are right there. It's almost at 96% of effectiveness. I mean, think about where modern technology has come. Think about, chicken pox, and think about polio and how many years and decades it took to develop that vaccine. And we basically did this, if you want to say, almost overnight. And the problem for us right now is just making sure it works and then having a mass production of it and making sure everyone gets it, including the ones that are most exposed, the frontline workers.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I was just watching this morning. It was 95%. Pfizer, it was 90 about a week ago, and now it's up to 95%. And within a week, they were just talking about this on the news this morning. That's a nice thing about having the news media in the studio, so I can see what some of the things that they're talking about this morning. 95%. They're looking for they're going to go for FDA approval within this week, within the next week to get emergency approval to get the mass distribution out to that. Now, like you mentioned, how are they going to do that? Who's going to get it? I'm guessing, like I said, the frontline workers, they're with it, dealing with it every day. They're exhausted. The hospital beds are getting full. 19 beds up in Cresco is what it said on the CNN. I think that's what they said. It's not only just a hospital, but it's a hospice, and it's like multiple things that they have going on up in that one hospital there in the Cresco area. So,
I mean, if we can just do some of these little things as normal citizens of wearing the mask, social distancing, and maybe it is doing curbside, or maybe it's pickup for some of us that are just not quite comfortable doing that. I can see that being on the fence, Jay. I completely understand where some people may think it's hypocritical of me, to go inside a restaurant, but then also, preach, or go inside a restaurant and take off my mask, but then also preach to wear a mask. I completely understand that. But my whole thing is, I don't have pre-existing health conditions, and I certainly don't want to spread it. And I was telling one of my clients, at this point, I think I'm going to get tested every other week just to be sure I'm not spreading it to clients in my community, since I'm around it all the time. It just almost feels like it's a duty for me to do something like that. And of course, not many people want to get the COVID test done, but really, it's going to save lives in the long run. But when it comes to the vaccine, I don't know how they're going to distribute it, but I'm amazed that they went from, we had this pandemic and everything shut down, March 15th, pretty much around the United States, and things really started to rev up to this point. So we've only been around, just about 7 months? 8 months. And that's how quickly we developed a vaccine in the United States. I mean, we have some amazing people, and we still need to do that. We still need those amazing people to bring positivity, and we need a light during some of these dark times. And hopefully we can continue to do that and not just be stuck in our house. Hopefully we can support our local businesses and our local downtowns as we head into the holiday season.
Yeah, just if you're going to go out somewhere, just wear a mask. Like I said, it's not one of those things. Well, I'm not going to wear it because I have a right as an American to not. Just it's temporary, and if the sooner and we get everybody on board, to wear masks and stay the social distancing and things like that, it's going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And I think we're in the worst part right now, Chris. But now this vaccine is looking like good news for us. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting to the end of it. So let's finish this thing strong and help out our healthcare workers and everybody in the front line, because like you were talking about, they said that, these beds are filled up and you got somebody that's got an emergency, that whether it's, the ambulance has to take off and go get somebody, that's in a car wreck or there's a heart attack or whatever. It's hard to get. They're overflowing, or going to be very, very soon.
That's the big story that I've heard from doctors and nurses and frontline workers is if you're not doing this for yourself, do it for obviously people that you don't want COVID, for the people that you don't want to get COVID, but also for the people that are the heart attacks, the cancers,
right.
The car accidents, because those people that are focused in on maybe someone that a week or two ago that were probably not as safe as they should have been. Now we have to focus those people on them with someone like David that had a heart attack, or someone like Pam that has cancer. And it's too bad. If we can just all do our part. And it was funny because it's not funny, but about 2 weeks ago, I wasn't going to tell a story, but I want to tell a little bit about it. My dad is kind of in that part where he understands the seriousness of COVID, but also he said he's not going to stop his life. He actually went to a wedding 2 weeks ago it was actually my cousin's wedding in Green Bay. And he came back and I kind of confronted him. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing going to a wedding? And we had about an hour good debate. And at the end, he was still going to do his thing. And he wears a mask. And he does social distance, I think, to a point. But there are a lot of people like my father that are not stopping what they're doing, and they say they're just going to continue their life. And that's one thing that I want to see if we can try to get away from. Jay, as you know, it's only going to be a couple of months. If we can just get through the next couple of months, you're going to save lives. If you just do a little bit less, you wear the mask and you social distance.
Exactly. So a few people have comments. Shelly said, stay safe. Joe said, if your mask works, others not wearing one are taking the risk. So again, if we can just, you're going to see a little bit, it's like when you go to the gym and you go, I want to get buffed up, or I want to, tone the body. It's going to take, it doesn't happen overnight. So we're going to need to, if we just all said, okay, fine, we're all going to wear a mask for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks tops. And then you're going to start to see the difference of the hospital beds are going to start to free and get open, and things will start to turn around. And then the vaccine, hopefully by then, is going to be approved, and we can start seeing how that's going to be distributed.
Yeah, and I think the vaccine is going to be huge. But if we could just, as Dr. Fauci was saying for a long time, and all the healthcare workers and the experts, again, Jay and I are not doctors and experts. We're just trying to be leaders in the community to try to get a following from this. But if you could just wear that mask for 2 to 3 weeks, as you said, that may be enough to flatten the curve. And we're not going to get rid of COVID immediately. It's not going to happen. But what we want is to keep people safe, people with pre-existing health conditions safe as well, not contracting that. But I think the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway from that is just with the vaccine coming, just social distance. Just do the things that you can do, and we can live our life. And, we'll look back at 2020 in 5, 10, 20 years and say, I can't believe we survived that. I can't believe we used to walk around with a mask. Because a year from now, I'm hoping, Jay, I'm hoping we do not have to have a mask on. That's the goal here is, by November 2021, I hope we don't have to wear a mask. And if it's anything before, I'm going to jump up and down and party like a rock star, non-alcoholic wise.
Right. Exactly. So, but we want people to be safe out there. Again, enjoy, you can still live your life. You just have to put a mask on. And so still go out and enjoy the different, like you mentioned, some of the, the restaurants, the different local establishments, because I tell you what, they shut things down again. We're going to lose some people. And we're
going to lose downtowns. We have you know, this is one thing that I will say. North Iowa is so blessed to have some of the most beautiful small town downtowns. And we do such an amazing job of supporting local business, shopping small town, and keeping that. If you can think of another thing that will want to keep you from keeping that mask on at all times when you're out and about, think about those small towns. The last thing you want to see is a for sale sign, or that
Going
you
out
have
of
to
business.
travel 30 to 45 minutes to go get groceries or clothing. Big time. I mean, shop local, yes, great. But the last thing we want to do is having our government officials or Governor Reynolds having to make that tough decision. Like, you know, if I don't shut things down, things are going to get really, really bad now. And we don't want to have anyone making that decision, because I would not want to make that decision. And I already saw comments from Governor Walz in Minnesota saying, you know what, I don't even care at this point if you don't want to vote for me in 2 years when I'm running again for governor. My most important thing right now is I want to keep Minnesotans safe. And I know, regardless of how you think of politics, Governor Reynolds and all the other governors in the Midwest and the United States are thinking the exact same thing, Jay.
You may be mad at him. It's like when you get mad at a weather guy, you know, you know, when the weather's not right, you know, you go, well, I need sunshine. And you're saying, well, it's going to, and you're jumping up for joy because it's going to rain and blizzard and all that good stuff. But so you may be mad. I want to use another word, but you may be mad at him now, whether it's Republican or Democrat. I don't care. I'm not making it political, but
they're both extreme. Both sides are really extreme at this point.
Yeah, but you may be mad at them now for what they're doing or what they've done. But in a year or two, when it is time for reelection or whatever, then you may be going, you know what? They made the right choice. And that's all they're doing. They're all starting to work together and do what's right, they think, for the people and the communities of their state. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good to talk to you, Chris. And
good catching up. It's been a while. I haven't been on since August, I think.
Yeah, it has been a while, but we thought it would be a good idea to get on here and talk, you know, with the governor speaking the last couple of days. You know, she spoke on Monday night, and then she spoke on yesterday. I'm sure she can have another news conference again today. It's always usually on YouTube that they always post those as well, but to give updates. But that's the latest that we know, and we wanted to get that out there. And again, like I said, if you see me outside and going somewhere, now if I'm outside and I'm just raking my yard, don't call me.
Don't stop by Jay's house and say, "Hey, Jay, get that mask on."
Right, right. But if you catch me in a gas station where I don't have it on or whatever, call me. I'm not going to get mad. I'm going to go, you know what? You're right. I totally forgot about it. So it's almost like I need a mask in like every pair of pants and jacket that I have, just in case I got one. You know.
I know. The last thing I'm going to say here, I'm going to say it over and over and over, and it's so interesting to me that I've already had people on my page say, stick to weather. Yes, but you know what? It's my duty, if I have between 30 and 40,000 followers that really they follow me for a reason, and yes, it might be weather, but if I have a small amount of influence on anyone, and it's during this time, it's not going to be weather influence. Right now, we are at a stage of a pandemic that this is getting very severe. Wear a mask. Social distance. If you have pre-existing health conditions or you're an elderly person, I would not probably leave your house unless you absolutely have to, and just do curbside and do takeout otherwise. But you know, Governor Reynolds has not shut things down quite yet, and I for myself, Jay, I'm going to continue to go in, social distance, mask, and I'm still going to support our local businesses any way I can.
There you go. Well, Chris, again, it was good to catch up with you, and thanks a bunch. We'll keep in touch. All right.
All right. Thanks, Jay. Take care. God bless.
Your KISS Community Calendar is brought to you by your financial partner, First Citizens